So Mark, we're back on the air here with Doug, and we're doing, Doug's opened up the boat, and we've already had a little bit of an inspection, we're picking it up halfway, so show us what you got here.
One comment you made was that there's a large and then a small frame. Can you explain that again?
Well,
it's the ribs, right?
Yeah. Every other frame, roughly on 10-inch centers, is about 2.5 by 2, and then every other frame is about 1.5 square or so.
Okay.
On the big frames, a lot of places they use screws, some places they wiggle. But what I was worrying about when I saw these fillers was, did they have a problem taking planks or fasten around and put a screw in? And I think the answer is yes. So
into the frame.
We're going to wait until this boat goes by here. Okay, the boat, all right, it's getting a little bit better.
Okay.
So now we're on the port side.
Yeah. Now here is the small frame. It's about 1.5 squares. So here's a big frame. Like
But it seems quite wide, even though it's...
Well, now this is the frame here. This isn't the frame.
Oh, okay.
This is a floor timber. It comes way up here.
What's the difference between a floor timber and a frame?
The floor timber goes across the boat and bolted to both sides as well as the keel.
Okay.
This is really unusual that it be this high up. They're usually down here. This is very good.
Oh, that's good? And why is that good?
Okay, the ballast is down here. When you're heeled over going to weather, that ballast is trying to wrench itself out of the hull. So these floors here in the area of the ballast have been brought way up so that the lever is huge.
Okay.
Okay. It's a wonderful design. Back here you don't need that so much. There's no weight. This is all wood. This is the ballast here. This is lead.
So they did it directly in line with the ballast and the leverage point.
Yeah, and if you look over the other side, after the ballast, they just come down the floors, which is more than enough.
Is this the only one they would have, or did they have two? One in the front.
As far as I can tell, they go every other one.
Oh, every other one?
Yeah.
Holy cow.
On the small frame.
And all the way up to the beginning of this, probably?
As far as I can see, yeah.
That's cool.
Now, we get a couple more planks off, we'll know, but it's a great way to build a boat. Now, back here, we were worrying about the horn timber, and had to take some more paint off.
Oh, okay, more paint, yeah.
To see what was going on here. And the horn timber, when you looked at it from here, it kind of went like this. What's going on there? So I was thinking maybe there was some rock and they chiseled it out, but it wasn't. What happened is when they put this little short plank in here that used to be here,
Yeah, you remember that little one?
they banged the cotton in here, see it?
Yeah.
And it dug into the horn timber, which made it look like it was going like that. See that?
Okay.
All right,
So that's okay now?
solid as a rock.
The
You
horn
don't want to, as far as I can tell, you don't want to replace that.
No. The horn is this little
That's
piece.
this timber here. It goes all the way to the transom and all the way down.
And how thick is that in here?
It's about 4 inches thick, and about 8 inches wide. Good size. Nice size. So that's what that was all about, taking that plank out. As well as, you remember these two frames, this side, burned?
Yeah.
And you have the exact twin on the other side in the same location?
Yeah.
Well, I took that off to see what was going on, and that was right here. You can see the one above and below, it's kind of cooking a little bit.
Yeah.
I wanted to see how this frame was. It's fine.
It looks like there is some stuff there.
Well, it's just surface junk,
Yeah.
but it's solid as a rock.
Good.
And look at all these different...
Why would there be so many screws in there?
Because they did that.
Is poor craftsmanship?
Yeah, well, there was loose stuff going on. See this bolt here?
Well, that's not a screw, that's a bolt.
Yeah, that can go.
That's one of the fasteners?
That bolts to this bronze strap here.
Okay.
So that's just be replaced.
So that we're going to take out?
Yeah.
And
Well,
put
we'll
a new fastener there?
Yeah, new bolt. Okay, and then these will come out, toothpicks, and in this short a distance, you only require 2 screws. When a plank gets very wide, you get to 3 screws or more.
Okay.
like the garbage.
All right. And so how does this look down here? Take us through this again.
This looks great. The garbage got some funkiness on the end here, and this plank had a little short piece here, remember?
But yeah, that's right.
Yeah. And then up front, on the forward end of this plank, the forward 18 inches was like real funky kind of the two pieces. I'm glad we took it out. We had to anyway. So we'll put new garbage on. We'll just start here and we'll go right up.
Beautiful, because this is all still kind of a mess, right? We're
Yep.
going to get some new wood. What about this piece of wood you found?
Well, it's a piece of sapele, and you see the waviness we talked about it before in the hull. And up there, where I took that short piece out, the plank's only a little over 3/4 thick.
Okay.
It's supposed to be a full inch.
Okay, is that what you found here? These are all 1-inch planks?
Yeah. Now here, it's narrower, and that's typical. They taper from front to back. In the aft end, this is only about 7/8, and up forward, the same thing.
Okay.
That's typical, but in the
bulk of
center,
it.
they should be full 1 inch.
Right, okay. And
So-
is that what you would say is good standard, like for the Pacific? If
Oh, yeah.
sailing a boat, is she going to be ready to go to Fiji?
Oh yeah. Now that I've seen the frames, the way it's
Yeah.
put together, I'd take this boat anywhere once it's done,
Right,
but I wouldn't right now.
right.
What's this cable in there?
Huh?
What's this cable in here?
That's the limber chain.
Yeah, that's to keep the water flowing between all the different pieces of wood.
Is that right?
Yeah, now normally they have a big spring on one end, about that long,
Yeah.
so you pull it, and the spring pulls it back.
We have a little spring, isn't there?
It should be.
Yeah.
You probably do.
If not, we should
And this stuff is called again, the black stuff.
That's bitumen.
bitumen.
Bitumen. B-I-T-U-M-E.
Where did that come from?
It's a tar. It's a member of the tar family.
Okay. The European?
No, it's everywhere.
Okay.
It's just hard to get.
Gotcha.
All right, but
okay.
otherwise, all the construction looks good here.
I'm impressed.
Doug's impressed. Wow, that's hard to do.
It is these days.
Okay.
But,
The Italians impress again.
yeah. No, right here there is a mysterious thing. I'm not saying it's bad. It's
Yeah, what's the worst stuff that you're finding in here?
just the planks.
Just the planks
That's it.
themselves.
What's the mystery?
This bronze plates here that come, or these rubber things, they look like they're some kind of gaskets to keep this tank, we'll
Okay.
call it, from squeaking, which is fine. We'll find that out when we get some more planks off.
Yeah.
And then, and while we have the planks off,
What's amazing is how good the camera can be getting into these little
Yeah.
slots.
So you take this plank off too?
yeah.
You take the whole.
We going all the way up here now? What's the plan? Going
Well,
back up?
we know these are all bad.
These are all bad.
So we're going to go at
They
least-
look good, but they're bad.
Yeah. I think we should go at least to here. And I hate this.
We still don't know what it. Why don't we just take that out and see what it is?
Well, that's what I'm thinking. Because if you follow everything to its ends,
yeah.
you're going along. Things are great for about 6 feet long. So, oh my God.
This
That
one's
looks-
a long plank.
It's pretty long.
So maybe we could just end it there, figure out what's going on, and replace that going back.
Right. You see all this filler?
Okay, you don't like that either.
I don't like that. But if we cut it here, we'll get rid of that and find out what it is. And then head back. The longest plank I've found so far on the boat is 22 feet.
22 feet. That's
And the majority of the stuff we're getting is 18,
okay.
and with about maybe 8 or 10 sticks, 24. Now, in here, if your planking's 1 inch thick, you see this curve here? This curve and this curve. In order to get a 1 inch thick plank, by the time you shape it to fit the frames on the inside and hollow it on the outside, it's got to come out of 1.5 inch thick plank.
Sure.
What's called 6/4.
6/4, yeah.
So the majority of the planking we're going to order is be 6/4, like 80% of it. The only 4/4 would be right here, the so-called flat, and the garbage, and maybe this this plank because they're basically flat. They curve, but they're flat. But in here, they were flat, and then we got a circle. So something like 75 or 80% of them wouldn't be out.
So the whole idea that you can just stack them up really easily is not really the case. You have to mill every one to some degree.
Hand mill it.
Hand mill pretty much every one.
Well, if you take a look at this plank, for instance, okay, because they always taper into the rabbit. This is called the rabbit right here. If you take a look at this plank right here, where are we? This starts out flat and about 3/4 to 7/8 thick. But now, as it comes into here, it begins to pick up the shape. So when you fit this plank, you have to make little patterns for each frame as that curve changes.
Sure.
So you can end up with a plank sitting out here this thick. It has to be milled from this side to get to there, and then from the back side to get there to get the shape into it. This plank will take 3 days. This plank, a day. So it's all about how much handwork you have to do. These planks in the flat, about a day at least. You start getting down into here. These are the worst ones on the boat right here. These three. Because this rabbit is very complex. No one does this, but it has a lot of this.
So is it all just trial and error? Put it up there, make a little mark, sand it down a little bit, put it back?
Well, here's what you do. You make a male pattern
Right.
of this curve.
Okay.
And you transfer it to a little scrap of plywood. You make a female pattern. So that when you're shaping this on the bench with a hand plane, you keep checking those patterns as you go. Okay? Then, once you get it fit, you're real happy with it, this end goes in, and now you got to transfer all your shapes and so forth the length of the plank. Also, if you look at this plank here, and let's say it was 15, 18 feet long, it has to come out of the board that wide. Because it's cut into this curve. If you sight down, you can see that.
Okay.
So it has to be sawn into that shape. And a little process called spiling. That's how you get that shape. You glue up a spiling batten. It's usually about 2 inches wide and about a 1/4 inch thick. The full length in there. It's in straight sections. Like that. So then you make your marks on that, and it's transferred through the stock back to the second dimension. And you lay out all your widths as well as the shape.
Sounds like this boat's going to be here for a while. I mean, it's going to be in the shop for a while.
Well, and that's the thing, when people see planks, they go, how can it take so long? Because they're not just straight boards by any stretch.
Sure, sure.
And now these two here, they got shape and they're tapered, but there's no hand milling. You have to taper it by hand the last couple of feet into the rabbit, but for the most part, it's a 1 inch thick plank that gets the correct shape, the correct amount of caulking bevel, and you gotta screw it in with plenty of tar behind it.
I got a question for you.
Yes, sir.
It's different than, it's off subject from the woodwork. It's more the mechanics. Would you, while you have it out and you have everything off, would you consider upgrading the engine, for instance, getting a bigger or stronger engine?
How many horsepower?
Or the propeller
I think it's
system?
50 or 75.
75 is good.
Or the propeller system?
I would get rid of that propeller in an hour. About the time it took me to get it off of there.
You don't like this propeller?
Good.
I hate it.
This is where I'm going.
Yeah, what do we got going here with this?
Why you got it out?
Well, okay, first off, and I've got to remind the yard to pull the shaft, okay? This shaft is too long. You should never have more than one diameter of the shaft sticking out. Because the more there's more chance for whip or lash.
Maybe that's what's causing it.
Yeah, a lot of vibrate. Huh?
Is that what causes
Paul's-
that pole starboard? Maybe.
No, it's because the prop's offset. And it could also be the rotation of the prop. You know, in other words, if the prop's off center, it's going to push you this way.
Yeah, that's what it's doing.
But a lot of times, and let's see, this would be a right-handed prop. Yeah, so it's even worse.
Yeah.
If this were turning this way, it would almost cancel out this being offset.
Right. Be more of a draw.
How do you adjust that?
Well, you'd have to change your gearbox.
Yeah.
Or drive in reverse. Get a backwards, you know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
you got the wrong setup.
Right. We could conceivably counteract that, the effect of the pulling, if we changed our gearing.
If you put another gear in, or I don't know how the gearbox is set up, but
Yeah.
if it,
Change the shaft rotation.
yeah, if you get a left-handed prop spun this way, it would help a lot.
Okay.
Also, you should get a solid three-bladed prop.
Not a feathering? Why, this is better for racing, isn't it?
It's this much better.
Also for lobstering. With it.
Lobstering?
Well, no, I mean, like, you know, catching lobster pots.
Yeah. Well,
We don't have that here, but that was an issue back east.
we got a lot of lobster pots.
You got a lot
Here?
of spots out here. He's trying to tell you though, the stationary prop is just a much better prop, right?
Okay, let's say you lose a tenth of a knot, which is about what you'd lose sailing.
Okay.
You're
Which
gonna
is
gain a
everything.
full knot. You're going to gain a full knot or more in motoring. So when you leave to go to Catalina at 4 o'clock in the morning, which you better, there's no wind,
Right.
so it's a motorboat. So this thing's back here rattling around, and you're chewing up fuel, and you're, you know, and it's impossible to keep them clean because they're in the worst environment on the earth. So that sort of thing. Get these critters going. If you're doing a Transpac, you know, or you're a real racing freak, that's a whole different story. You know what they do? They have the regular prop on. They send the diver down before the race.
Take it off.
Put this on. This is a pleasure boat. So, you know, you get in some races and win some. You know.
I'm going to cut here.
And a new